Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light on and talk with business leaders from all over the world to share their insights and expertise so we can all grow together. I am your host, Heidi Schalk, and I am the co-founder of the Spotlight to Scale Accelerator, where we drive revenue for companies by making sure they're seen as the authority and go-to expert in their industry versus just another product or service. And today I have the pleasure to bring on as my special guest, Cara Heilmann with International Associations of Career Coaches. So welcome, Cara, to the podcast. So grateful for your time.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Absolutely. So I want to first hear all about you. So can you tell us who you are, what you do, and a little background about how you got here, your journey?
Sure. What I like to see is my talking logo is I help first gen and second gen Americans get their first executive job. That's what I do as a career coach. But truly, I am a recovering corporate America exec. I was in the race, bachelor's degree, MBA, working for all these amazing organizations, and to climb in the ladder. And you would think that I've arrived. Here I am. I'm at the top floor of the building. My CEO is next to me. I could look out and I see beautiful Lake Merritt. I had my executive assistant sitting outside, and you would think I should be happy. I've arrived. I've arrived at where I wanted to be, and I was so miserable, like totally miserable. My amazing assistant, she would say, "Is it another fake it till you make it day?" She knew it, right?
You
And I
can
was
see
like,
it.
yes, who else can see this? I'm trying so hard. And then I decided to share this conundrum with some colleagues. And one of my amazing friends in the organization, Susan, said, "You need to talk to Mary." Like, who is this Mary person? I start working with this woman named Mary, and she's a life coach. And she helped me remember all the things that I loved about my job. 20 years in already. Everything that I loved, every person I helped, every moment of joy. And she challenged me to create a company doing just that. And that's what I did. So I started my business, Ready, Reset, Go, which is an executive career coach organization. That quickly blossomed into teaching other coaches to do what I'm doing. And then that was like the birth of the International Association of Career Coaches.
So can you tell us more about like why career coaching?
We used to call it something else before. We used to call it career consulting before the whole coaching craze, right? The reason why I do it is because I want to banish bad work days forever for everyone. That's what I would like to do. The reason why I think people really come to us for help is that there are few people in the world you can talk to about this kind of stuff. Like you're struggling at work, or you want to leave your job, or you got another offer. There are very few people you can share. This is what I'm earning. This is what I want to get. How can I go ahead and negotiate it? And so there's like this opportunity for us to come in and partner with people one-on-one, and they can talk about things that they really can't talk to about, not with their best friends or with their partners or actually with anyone. So I think that's why people come to us. Yeah.
Do you have a specific, like, I know that you hear a lot about niching, right? Niching down. Do you have a specific type of client that you work with in a specific career? Or can you share, like, for somebody listening and they're like, oh my gosh, like I need someone to support me and where I want to go next in my career. Would they be the right fit? So can you tell us like who you work with? Who would be your perfect client?
Right. See, I grew up in Hawaii. I grew up speaking not great English. I grew up speaking a Pidgin Creole English. That's called actually Pidgin in Hawaiian.
Wow.
And when I went to Vanderbilt University, my first paper I got back from a professor was completely covered in red. So many things I did wrong with this. The second paper came back completely covered in red. And he stopped me in a hall and he said, "Cara, I want you to go to the bookstore and get a book, Strunk and White, Yeah, it's about grammar. It's about like it's about writing well because I was a horrible writer.
Mm.
Horrible. I joined corporate America when my parents barely had education. My father had a bachelor's degree, but my mother, not even a high school degree. So I didn't have someone telling me how to act in business. I didn't have someone telling me how to shake a senator's hand. That wasn't my reality. So when I joined corporate America, I had to learn everything on my own. So what I do is I help individuals that are just like me, first
Mm.
gen, second gen Americans, like break through the barriers of how they're coming across their executive presence so that they can finally move into the level of which that they know and they should be at within corporate America. So yes, that is my niche within my career coaching business.
Wow. So what would the process look like to work with you? Can you share that?
Yeah. Right now, actually, just before this,
Mm.
which goes into how do I go and market myself? Because I'm much older than you are. So I'm not like on TikTok or, that isn't necessarily my world. So I was having a conversation with someone just before coming on here. And I asked her, how did you find me? Because 99% of the people who I work with are referrals.
Mm.
At this point in my business, I've been doing this 12 years. 99% of the people I work with come from referrals. And that's the golden egg, right? That's the
Right.
flywheel
That's what
that
everybody wants to get to.
that's what
Yeah.
everybody wants to get to. She found me on Instagram,
Mm.
which goes to show you need to continue to broaden the way of how you go to business because um, one thing that changes, they say, so many things change, but one thing that will change will be the way you market today won't work tomorrow. I mean, that's
Mm.
like a law. It's going to happen. So you have to constantly be trying and doing different things.
Yeah, so let's talk more about that. So you've been in business 12 years. Like that's
Mhm.
it's fantastic. Congratulations. Many businesses don't make it that far. So that's great news. What has evolved for you as far as marketing goes? Like what have you done? You now it's mainly based on referral, 99%, which is spectacular. Anybody listening is that's their goal. That they would love to get that to that level. But before you were at that level, what did you do in order to grow your visibility? What would you suggest for people who are listening going, you know what? I'm not at that point. I'm nowhere near that point. I'm not getting referrals. So what would be the grassroots things that I need to be doing now in order to start moving toward that?
You nailed it. You said grassroots. A
Mm.
lot of people think because I have trained over 300 career coaches at this point in time, the number one place that they want to market is LinkedIn.
Mm.
Everyone wants to be on LinkedIn. You could, and you're literally screaming to the void of billions of people. What you said is absolutely the truth. Local, get local,
Mm.
start local. You're going to build your base there. You can do so many things. There is this woman, she is a career coach. She helps women that have raised their children and now want to get a job after raising their kids. What she does is Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, we're going to meet at this spot, and she drops a pin at the Lafayette Reservoir. Bring your kids, bring your strollers. We're going to walk around for a mile and a half, and you can ask me any questions you have about getting a job.
Mm.
Local. And she has built such a strong following within her neighborhood. And then from there, you can branch out. So you nailed it. Number one, local. The second thing is to have such a yummy, juicy niche that where you go to market is very obvious. Take this individual where she wants to work with the mothers that are looking for jobs after raising their kids. Going on LinkedIn is like the worst place to go. Other moms that are raising their kids are not on LinkedIn.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they're on local Facebook groups. They're in a cafeteria, in like these cute little cafes around town. They're at the parks in your neighborhood. So narrow in your niche so that you know where to go, and it's so obvious where you need to be.
Yeah, such good points because people forget about their local backyard. You know, when they're starting a business, they're like, oh my gosh, everybody's on social media, everything's gone virtual, and they forget about what's really right outside their front door. And we work with people on getting them on stages and things like that. Podcasts are great. Like I'm a big proponent of podcasts. I have two. And I'm a big believer you should be getting out on podcasts and broadening your scope and getting on social media, but there's a lot of noise out there on social media, right? So you definitely need to be building there and putting your messaging out and tweaking it. But there's so much outside of your front door where you can build in your local community. And then once you have those testimonials and those case studies, it's going to be so much easier for you to get out into the virtual world on top of that. So phenomenal. So if somebody was to come with you to you, when someone comes to you for coaching, what does that process look like? Can you walk us through the journey from like A to Z or A to B or whatever that looks like?
The perfect scenario would be someone comes to me and says, I don't really know what I'm meant to do in this world through my work. Whether they've been working 20 years or 2 years,
Mm,
they're like, help me figure out what that is. It will take with me maybe 2 to 4 weeks for you to figure out what am I meant to do in this world through my work. And then we identify one ideal job of which we build your dossier. Your dossier would be all your collateral material that you would need to go out into the labor market to try to find a position: resume,
mm,
cover letter, LinkedIn profile. For the most part, you might have a portfolio, but for the most part, those three things. And then we have a go to market strategy of which we design and execute. There are 3 channels you ought to be in for a job search: jobs that are posted, low hanging fruit, executive recruiters, third party recruiters, and the other one would be your network. And we gather all that information, see what it is, and we come up with strategy so that you can begin to execute your go to market strategy. And immediately you start getting eyeballs on your stuff. Start getting nervous because people are reaching out to you. And now we begin working on executive presence. How do you
mm.
talk about yourself? How do you be comfortable in your own skin? How do you leave them wanting more? All of those things. Then the offer comes in, negotiation, the first 90 days. Now, that would be the perfect scenario if someone were to come to me that way. Hardly anyone does. Everyone has a different thing, a different situation that they're in. And so over the years, I've just like, I'll meet you where you are and let's get you where you need to be.
Mm.
And for the few, maybe 5% that come in from the very beginning, then we can go through that entire process.
Amazing. Thank you for walking us through that because I know people listening are going, okay, what would that look like? So you do coaching and you also do certify career coaches. So
Mm-hmm.
which do you love more? Coaching executives? Well, okay, so you coach different people. So what do you love more, coaching executives or certifying career coaches?
I actually love helping new businesses get up and off the ground.
Mm,
It is, and it's really truly the same thing because it's the realization of my dream, not my dream, but your dream, right? To start your own business is such a scary thing.
yeah.
You're literally creating something out of nothing. That's the hardest thing in the world to do. Getting another job, you're just fitting into someone else's ecosystem and you're working your butt off for someone else, really, truly, when you have a job. But
Mm,
when you have the courage to say, I'm going to do this on my own, I want to be there next to you. I want to feel that frequency of the being scared and excited at the same time, and then walking with you to see how you could get your business up and off the ground. Now, I don't have a wide general viewpoint like you do, Heidi. I don't have the purview of helping many, many different companies and people with their businesses. I only know one thing, and that's how to get a career coaching business up
mm,
off the ground. And that I think is my favorite thing. When I see someone 2 years in and they're at 90% referrals, it just makes me feel so great.
mm.
Um, yeah, that's why I started teaching people to do this. I realized that there's such a need for people to become career coaches that I can't do what I want to do just by myself. I need allies. I need other people that would join forces with me to create a world where we banish bad work days forevermore.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's definitely my favorite.
You're a dream maker, right? That's what I see. Like, that's what I heard. You're a dream maker, and I love that you're saying like banish bad work days. So a Monday is the same as a Friday, right?
Mhm.
There's no disparity in the workday. It's joyful to show up, and you took the pain that you've gone through, and you found your joy, and now your mission is for others to find their joy as well, and
Absolutely.
and drive that referral ship up to 90 to 99%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we have what I call heaven on earth. So we create heaven on earth.
Yeah.
That is, or as a close friend would say, I don't know if I can say this on air,
Yeah.
that we become hoes, that we create heaven on earth. Like
Oh.
I create a hoe and you're a hoe and you're going to create. Sorry. So
It's,
bad.
it's good.
Gotta have
No, it's
fun,
so
right?
good. I love it. HOE. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that viewpoint. It's so good. So do you have, you made a major pivot, when you made your change and now you're doing what you do. So do you have any clients that come to mind that really made a massive pivot, just like you had done?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So many that come to mind. There was this woman, her name is Kim, and she's on the East Coast. She worked for State Farm for 16 years and she was processing different claims, and she was a claims supervisor. She didn't know what she wanted to do, but she knew she wasn't happy. So we
Mm.
started working together, doing our career compass thing. And in, I think, 3 weeks, she decided, I want to be a manager of human resources. Now, that was my background, 20 years, and I tried very hard to say, no, you don't want to, trust me. No, but she really wanted to be a manager of human resources. How is she going to go from being a claim supervisor to a manager in human resources? Right. So she figured out what she wanted to do. And now that's what we do as career coaches. We bend iron. We don't fabricate. We don't break. We bend iron. And we positioned her as a benefits manager. She knows insurance. She knows how to process it and administer it. So we positioned her as a phenomenal benefits manager. She got that job. 3 years later, she got promoted to the HR manager role. So
Mm.
that's the one pivot. Gosh, let's see. When I think of others, I've helped individuals get out of incredibly stuck situations.
Mhm.
Okay, let me tell you about this woman. I'm not going to say her name because she's like, there are very few of her. Um, she was working for a printing organization as a director of engineering. So she ran a line as an engineering leader. Phenomenal. She was great at it. Amazon came in and bought their organization, and they brought in new managers over her. She had a new boss, and all of a sudden she was moved off the line into a desk job. They didn't change her title, they didn't change her pay, but they moved it to her desk job. That's not what she loves to do. So she threw her name in a hat for a leadership role again on the line. And her boss said, you don't have the right skills for it. You're not the right leader for it. That pissed her off so bad. So next call was to me. She's like, get me out of here and get me into a role. We worked together, and now she is a president of an engineering line of business. The next job she got after a director of engineering is president of
Wow.
of a line of business of engineering, because she's phenomenal. She's kick butt. She's incredible. And it felt so good when her old boss reached out to her and said, how did you get that job? She felt so great about that. So that was a kind of a cool pivot.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, not in changing from a State Farm to an HR manager, but from a level.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. You showed us both sides of what's possible, right? If you want to completely pivot, you can, and if you want to just move up to a different level, and you don't have to take that no, right? No doesn't mean no. It could mean not right now, or this is no longer the place for you, and it's up to you to move, to take action, to move to where you want to go, right? The sky's the
Yes.
limit. I just feel like there's so many. Okay, let's talk about that. And I know we weren't planning on talking about this, but fear. Can you tell us how much fear affects people from staying stuck, and what are the things mindset wise that you have to coach? Like, what do you see that you need to coach people outside of just like, here's the to-dos? I'm sure there's a lot of mindset work that's involved
It's
in
everything,
moving.
actually. It really is everything.
It's everything.
Um, it really is. And when you say sky's the limit, one way that I have this bag of tricks to help people shift their mindset of things. Uh, and one thing that I would tell people is that you are CEO of your company. You are CEO of Heidi Company. Whether you are your revenue stream is as a W-2 or a 1099, you have complete control over that. And you can diversify your revenue streams because you are a CEO. You may have one big client or you may have many little ones. And to shift that perspective, it helps people feel that they are in control of their career. So that's one little trick that I do. Another trick that I do is I was having a conversation with someone at a newspaper, and she asked me because she was doing millennial stuff. What is the one tip do you have for millennials of what they could do? And I say, drop the bags. She's like, what? Drop the bags. Don't put your old boss in your backpack and take it to your new job. Like literally, just drop it at the door and and start your new job. But it's so much easier said than done,
Mm.
right? So there was this woman, oh my gosh, she was, and another, I can't tell your name because there's like literally just one of her. She was in a C-suite for esports. There are very, very few women in the C-suite in esports.
Mm.
And similar thing, a new company came in, all that, blah, blah, blah. And her boss just fired her, but not a severance. She was gone out of that role. And she never experienced it. And I got to tell you, in HR, once you get to a certain level, C-suite, that happens all the time, but she's never experienced it. Took her 9 months to call me because every time she thought about him, she would say, that MFer, like really loud.
Yeah.
So this is another trick that I gave her. I made her go to Michael's. You know that store,
Yeah.
that
I
little,
love
yeah,
Michael's. I love
yes. And the Michael's is a store possibility. That's how I
it.
see Michael's. So I told her, go to Michael's and get a little notebook and get a little pen that sticks in the coil. Put a title on your book. And every time you think of the MFer, I want you to put the date and time. She's like, okay, carry it wherever you go. Fine. We got together a week later. She goes, that was magic. How did that work? And I said, well, show me your notebook. She showed me this purple notebook and she actually wrote in the front that MFer, but not like, I mean, the whole thing, that MFer. And she had this unicorn pen that was sparkly and glittery and stuff stuck into the coil. And I said, read to me your entries, the date, 5 entries. And when she thought about the MFer. Next page, the date, 3 entries. Next page, the date, 1 entry, and no more entries.
Mm.
She goes, how did that work? I said, that is a thought pattern interrupt. Instead of you thinking of the MFer and going into a spiral spin, you took out a purple unicorn glitter thing and it made you laugh. It rewired your brain into making you laugh when you thought about that person versus spinning. So I have all these tricks to help people wherever they are, whatever they're stuck with, to just get unstuck and continue forward.
Oh, those are so good, Kara. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, like the note, there's so much power in journaling and writing things down and when things are going, really taking account and writing down when you're thinking of stuff because again, you're now it's like intentional action. And that will, like you said, rewire your brain. So good. Um, I want to pivot a little, that word again. I want to pivot a little into AI because AI is
Mm,
a big thing now. It's really come into the world in a big way, especially in the coaching industry, in space and industry in the last year, if not 2 years, but really over the last 12 months, 14 months, I would say it's really coming on the space heavily. Not that it's not been around. It's been around for a really long time, but really coming to the forefront in the coaching space. So it's increasingly influencing the field of career coaching, just like any coaching space. But how is the International Association of Career Coaches integrating AI into your programs? And what trends are you foreseeing in your area?
Yeah, such an interesting conversation. We talk about this all the time.
Mm,
Um, our association continues to look at the different AI enabled and AI powered apps that are out there for our field. And there are many, right? If you think about writing a resume to a cover letter to helping you prep all the way to doing research in your new employer, whatever it might be, there there are AI tools at our disposal and also AI tools that an organization is using, which we need to know about so that we can kind of get around the bots and help our clients. Some of them are bad and some of them are really good. And it's important to know which one and how to use it. Like the good ones. The good ones would be research, using ChatGPT or Perplexity or something to do very, very quick research about employers, about cultures, about who you're going to be interviewing with. It's a phenomenal tool to help you with um, getting prepared. Where it's bad, writing resumes,
mm.
writing cover letters. Employers hate AI written resumes and cover letters.
And they can pull them out quickly.
Sure,
Yeah.
because it's just slippery. I don't know. There's something when you read it, it's like marketing-ish. I don't know what it is. It's like, and you taste it almost, and they can't stand it.
Mm.
So I would say never, ever use AI to write a resume or write your cover letter because that is something that I guess triggers, if I could use that word, employers.
Mm. So what would then, if you can't use AI for that, or you shouldn't use AI for that, how do you suggest people write that if they feel like, you know what, I'm not a great writer. I don't know
Mhm.
how to creatively promote myself. Maybe they feel weird about promoting themselves or they don't know how to. How would you coach them into writing an effective resume and a cover letter?
Yeah, that is where I think you should um, delegate that responsibility.
Mm.
I don't even like writing my own resumes and cover letters, but I love writing yours. I
Okay.
love seeing you and all that you bring and your amazing awesomeness, and that I can pour all of that and channel you into these documents. That's where I
Mhm.
think you should like totally delegate the responsibility. Um, but it's a real person, not someone that's using AI to create the verbiage. It's like your words, your experience, but being infused through the lens of someone else so that when they're writing it so a hiring manager go, everything I need to know about you is right here. I love that. I love when a client comes back and says, oh, the recruiter said, I loved your resume. Everything I wanted to know was right there. I'm like, there you go. Right. That's what we want
Yeah.
to do, what we want to get accomplished.
Such good. I would have never even thought that to really outsource that and have somebody else write it. Because yeah, like we love promoting other people, right? And when many
Mhm.
times we can see other people's gifts more than they can see their own gifts. Because who do we talk the worst to?
Mhm.
Ourselves, right?
So true, isn't
So
it?
allowing somebody else, and plus, I think there's beauty in that. When you read a resume that somebody else wrote in a cover letter, it really raises you up, and you're like, wow, they believe in me this much. I can really do this job. So they go. I think that's another way of allowing them to go into that interview a lot more confident than they may have gone otherwise.
Mhm.
Um, so it's your field is competitive. So it's a competitive field of career coaching. What visibility challenges has your company, International Association of Career Coaches, encountered? And what strategies have proven effective in enhancing your market presence and driving revenue growth? And if you want to share, like also what your people are doing, what tools are they using for more visibility? How are they being seen? Because at the end of the day, whether you're looking to get a career or you're growing a business, you need to have eyes on you. People need to know you exist in order to work with you, in order to take action on your offers.
Right, absolutely. I look at it from organic and paid when I'm
Mm,
looking at marketing. And organic is a much longer, long-term effort. And while paid marketing is much quicker. And so we've done the Google ads, the Meta, all of those
right.
for the paid side. The piece that's been actually much more rewarding is taking a look at our reputation that we have of our website, our reputation, getting our reputation up and higher by doing different things of developing amazing content, truly. And so we write long form articles, heartfelt examples of our clients and scenarios and situations that are SEO keyword sticky. So when we're pushing this really juicy, incredible article, it will also do its magic around the SEO. And I don't know if a lot of business owners at our size, like one person, a solopreneur, they understand the power of SEO writing and could maybe be a phenomenal writer, but they're not quite creating it in the eyes of SEO. So that's where I feel like partnering with an organization that can help them do that and understand what that looks like would be incredibly powerful. It'll just make their articles work for them in ways of pulling more eyes onto their organization. So that's the organic stuff. We dabbled into TikTok. I think I was like the oldest person on TikTok at one point in time because we were starting to do this a few years back. And when TikTok went down, we're like, oh, what are we going to do now? Right. And decided to pivot into different areas. But TikTok has been fun. I didn't think I would. I'm not going to dance.
Energy. So it's been fun.
I'm not going to dance. I'm not, but it's been fun. These short clips and things of, I think this can really help you. The number one TikTok that I think there's like 2 million now views on it or something was answering the question, what is your greatest weakness? I gave my normal standard answer and it just poof went like crazy and hit viral status and all of that. And I was reading the answers. They're hilarious, Heidi. They're so funny. Some of them were like, I hate this question. A lot of those because a lot of people don't like the question. And then there were things like, can I say potato chips? How about French fries? That's my greatest weakness. The answers are so funny. It's been truly a delight being on TikTok and we'll see, the future of that platform.
Well, I wanted to ask you what the answer is that you gave, but we're going to leave them hanging and let them. We're going to send our audience to TikTok to get that answer, so you get more than 2 million views or whatever you had. Yeah, we're going to raise that up. So if you want to know that answer, you can go see Cara on TikTok. We're not going to answer it here.
I love that.
So I mean, SEO, you brought us to SEO, and I think that it works in certain areas and works in not. And if you're depending on where you are in your business, paid advertising is fantastic, right? But is that something you jumped into right away, or were you at a certain level in your business where you're like, okay, now we're ready for that?
Oh my gosh. There was a moment in my business, I think it was about 3 years in, when I just wasn't seeing the traction. The name of the company was actually called Starting Line Resumes. That was my first business. I was running back then. I was doing marathons, and my entire theme was about running. It was so crappy. It was so terrible. And then I got a new name, Ready, Reset, Go, which I love. It's like such a perfect name. But around 3 years in, I hired a business coach, like someone like you or an organization who could really take me from where I was to the next level. And that was transformative, truly, for me. One of the things that was recommended, and I heard about it, is just as a case of FOMO. I heard about it because my coach was coaching, she was coaching other people, and that person said, oh, I started this whole ClickFunnels thing on Facebook. And I went, what's that? She's like, you don't need to do that, Cara. But guess what I did? I did it. It was the worst $75,000 investment that I've ever made because it was way too soon for me to go in that direction. I didn't even know how to talk about what I did. So how do I entrust that voice into a company? And all along the way, when people would go through this funnel, the voice changed, and then they met me and they're like confused, So too soon. What I recommend, like you said, grassroots, start local, start close, and then build your voice and then begin to think about how you can expand that. And there are many ways you can do paid advertising local as well.
Very, very true. You can, yeah, and it's much cheaper than putting in.
I lost sound. Yeah.
Nope, you didn't lose sound. I hit my microphone.
Oh,
Little tech issues going
I
on.
think
It's
I'm
a real
having,
life.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having like something's going on in my brain. All of a sudden, I don't hear anything.
No, I was so excited. My face must have hit the mic. So, this is so sensitive. I tapped it. It went off. The light's not on. It's not on.
Ah,
So yeah, you're right. And like local advertising, if you're going to do any advertising and paid, start local because I was saying like you don't want to throw it. And I don't hate to say throw it, but basically if you start too soon with paid advertising on social media, you're going to be throwing your money down the tubes. So you're so right. You need to get your stuff together
yeah,
organically and get your messaging clear. And your messaging is always going to be tweaking and testing, but there's a point where you know you've got it more dialed in, where now you can take it to the next level and feel more confident on investing money into ads. But you need to be reinvesting money that you are driving revenue with. Like you're reinvesting revenue. You're not just taking, because I've made huge mistakes in my business doing the same thing. I've hired too soon. I've
mhm,
spent way too much money on coaches and I've spent way too much money on advertising. And I was not ready for all of that because I didn't have it together organically.
yeah.
And that money could be back in my pocket right now and be doing so many other things that would have been way more beneficial for my business. So yeah,
Preach it.
we all learn, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Everyone
you're
listen to
listening,
Heidi.
yeah, this is why I did this podcast because I want you all, whether you're startup, whether you're scaling, or whether you're more established and you're whatever, no matter where you are in your business, there's always mistakes that we can be making. So I bring in all different types of companies because I want you to learn from people who already have done it so you
Mm,
don't have to do it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that go learn from my mistakes. Do learn from our mistakes because it will save you. I'm 6.5 years in and I'm still not where I want to be. Not even close because I've made so many mistakes, just like you were sharing. So thank you for being vulnerable and honest, Cara, because that's really, really helpful. So speaking about doing things differently, but not paying for ads too soon and not hiring the wrong coaching too soon when you're not ready for that, we need to do things differently, right? In order to get something different, then we need to do things different. So, what's the number one thing that people can do differently that you suggest?
take a step forward.
Mm,
We spent so much time in our head. We spent so much time researching and not moving forward. The most uh, um, uh, effective, the most powerful thing is to take a step forward and do move forward in doing something, right?
mm,
Then just trying to make whatever we're doing absolutely perfect. Like if you wanted to create a podcast and you're like, I got to get everything all perfect, we might not be having this conversation right now
right.
because you need to just get out there and start talking to people and getting yourself out there. That, in my opinion, is the number one thing that I see people who go through certification, they want to start their own businesses as career coaches, and they don't, and they never do because they feel like they have to get everything perfect before they take that step. So
Mm,
that would be my recommendation. If you have this concept and you want to start a business, oh my gosh, do it. Absolutely. And just launch,
yeah.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have a gift of seeing incredible gifts, right? In other people. So knowing, for example, you learned your superpower, right?
Mm.
So why is it important for how can people understanding their superpower and getting clear on that, and how can people understand their superpower to set them up, make them look different? Because if we want something different in our lives, in our business, we get to choose something different, especially if we're not where we want to be. If you're crushing it, obviously you don't need to be doing something different. You get to keep going and growing. But if things aren't where you want it to be, you need to choose different. But also, how can we set ourselves apart? And I know that you share it's knowing your superpower. How can people tap into that if they really don't know what that is?
That is one of the hardest things for us to identify because it's so easy for us. It just flows. Unlike our greatest weakness where we see it right in front of our face every single day. We're rubbing up against our greatest weakness all the time. Our superpower is ease. It just oozes from us. And because of that, we don't even know what it is.
Mm.
I love helping people identify what is their superpower. And I think I have this weird, uncanny knack. Like I have like a 99% success rate in helping people figure out what they meant to do in a job. That's what made me great as a recruiter, executive recruiter. I could meet someone. I'm like, this is it. I don't know. I heard it or felt it in my being. I don't know what it is. And so I truly do believe this is why I'm placed on this earth. And that is to help people see like their value, their worth, or what their superpower is. That to me is a half an hour conversation that I could have with someone. And I'll just ask some questions around what I'm seeing and feeling and hearing and see what comes up. Uh, I love from a interview standpoint when I go, okay, what is your greatest strength? And you hear all this like wah, 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 like this marketing speak, right? Of my greatest strength. And then I ask questions like, what comes easy to you? What have people said? Wow, you're so good at that. What do you do when you see someone and they're struggling with someone and go, why is that so hard for them? Such different answers come up when I ask those questions. And then from there, we can dig really deep into what they believe their superpower is. And I'm so
Wow.
blown away at the incredible, amazing talent of the people which that I've been able to meet over the years. It's truly amazing. It's truly a blessing.
I'm really like loving that you shared your superpower is something that comes so easy to you because I know, especially in the coaching space, like with entrepreneurs and business owners, that they'd be like, I don't know, like, why would anybody else want to know? Like, everybody knows what I know. No, they don't. What you're good at, other people lack, right, in that
Mm-hmm.
area, and they need your support on. So instead of trying to find out, oh my gosh, I need to learn something new in order to help someone else. No, you don't. You already have the gifts inside of you. That's what makes you unique and special. And just because it comes so easy to you doesn't mean it comes easy to everybody else. And that is a very big struggle for many of us. I know me included. I will admit that was a big thing. Like, why would anybody want to hear my story? Right? Why would anybody want, my support? If I know it, they must know it. And we don't give ourselves enough credit. So that was
Oh, yeah.
beautifully stated. So, Cara, how can people that are listening right now reach out to you and connect with you?
Well, I would say find me at Cara underscore coaches at TikTok, but who knows if that's going to be around much longer.
If it is, go
So,
there and find out that
right.
TikTok because I'm going to be searching for it.
Right, exactly. A couple of ways you can send me an email on LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
it's the whole LinkedIn thing, and then it's my name, Cara Heilmann, at the end. You can also find me at Ready Reset Go, which is my coaching business. If you're thinking you would like to find another position, so it's Ready Reset Go with a RE reset, not Ready Set Go.com. If you're thinking about wanting to become a career coach, then it would be the International Association of Career Coaches website. So iacareercoaches.org. So many ways to
Beautiful.
reach me. Just you can try TikTok, sure, but we'll see if uh with the future of that.
We want to get those views up on that video, on all your videos. So yes, reach out to Cara Heilmann, and you can find her on LinkedIn, on TikTok, probably all other social media platforms. But we're going to have all of her information, her contact information in the show notes. So if you can't write them down or go on social media right now, don't worry, we've got them. Just go to the show notes and we've got you covered. We've got your back. And if you're listening on any of your favorite podcast platform, and you're listening to us right now, please, if you've enjoyed our conversation and you've enjoyed Cara talking with you, please leave us a review, a 5-star review. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you see the beautiful Cara on your screen, please subscribe and let Cara know, put a comment below, and also reach out and let her know that you heard her here on the Business Growth Spotlight. We'd be very grateful. And share this. If you have a friend who's wanting to pivot or a loved one who's wanting to pivot and they're looking for a career change or even just their next level in their career and they don't know how to get started or what to do next, share this with them so they can get the information from Cara and also her contact information to reach out to her. So, Cara, this has been truly amazing. Thank you so much. Is there anything that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't talk about that you want to share?
This is joining here and jumping on here. I got to say, this has truly been great, Heidi. And having this conversation with you, I feel like we're on the same frequency. It's great. And for all the listeners that are listening to this, absolutely subscribe to this channel because it is a special place. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cara. And again, you can reach out to Cara, to connect with her at there's two websites. It's readyreset.com, also iacareercoaches.org, and it's Cara Heilmann with International Association of Career Coaches. We're so happy that you joined us today, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlight podcast.